money out of politics. Nobody who is taking in that kind of money and living in that kind of vast wealth, that just is totally discordant with this image that they've been trying to portray. And in that case, what happens is then it's just you get into this kind of messy area where it looks just like she's constantly running a kind of she's trying to trick people. And that's where it can get into areas where people think, gee, she's trying to pretend like she's one of us, but she lives and comes from this lifestyle that's much different. And I think that's the kind of thing that actually could hurt more than these allegations of money.
Author John Krakauer's widely known bestsellers that pit man against nature. His new book goes in a different direction. It is called Missoula, Rape and the Justice System, College Town.
This is a very different book. I wrote it for personal reasons. I felt compelled to write it after a young woman, I'm very close, she's almost like a daughter to me and my wife. I learned that she had been raped twice as a teenager, and I didn't know that until 10 years later. She turned up at a treatment facility for addiction and sexual assault, and was in treatment for 5 or 6 months. And it was because the trauma of those assaults a decade earlier, she'd never gotten over it. I didn't, I was ignorant, I'm ashamed to say, about the seriousness of sexual assault and also how prevalent it is.
It's been happening, we just haven't been seeing
all
it
the
reported.
time.
That's right. There's not an epidemic of
New
assault. It's just always been there beneath the surface.
That's
People
right.
deny the problem exists.
That's
And the
right.
most important point, or one of the most important points, is that it is not, in the majority of cases, from someone you didn't know. It's not the stranger who accosted you
That's right.
by coming up to your apartment and breaking in.
That's right.
It's the person that you thought you knew.
That's
but
right.
85% of rapes are done by acquaintances of the victim. People,
That's right.
85%, and in many cases someone knows them well. The main character in my book is a young woman named Allison Huguet, who was raped by a football player who had been her best friend since the first grade, someone she trusted like a brother. And she went to a party, drank too much to drive home, was offered a couch to sleep on, went to sleep alone, and woke up, she was being raped by her best friend. And people think, oh, it must be more traumatic to be raped by a stranger who breaks into your apartment and threatens you with a gun. It's actually more traumatic, probably, to be raped by someone you trusted completely, because that destroys your trust in everything.
Do you think that in almost 99% of the cases that the person who is raping a woman understands what he is doing?
I think that many rapists don't understand. The culture it leads them to believe this is sport. I mean, it's a conquest. It's for all kinds of reasons. And it is rape. I mean, without a doubt. But they can convince themselves it's not. There's educate young men about. I hope it raises awareness about
and eliminate.
I'm hoping that at some point, and maybe we're already there's a tipping point where, and I use this analogy. It's like what happened with drunk driving in 1980. Before 1980, a lot of people drove drunk. I drove drunk in my 20s. Sort of didn't appreciate the seriousness of it. And then Mothers Against Drunk Driving started coming out with these horrifying statistics and numbers, and law enforcement began to get serious about arresting and convicting drunk drivers. And arrests went up 220%, deaths went down. So maybe something like that will happen at some point with the problem of rape.
She didn't just betray me and her country. She hurt one of our friends horribly. That's the part that I just can't reconcile with.
After a 15-year hiatus, actress Téa Leoni has returned to television. She is currently starring in the CBS political drama Madam Secretary.
You know, I've been doing film, and with film, it's
know.
2 or 3 months, and you're done. You're
Yeah.
sort of
You
turning
like
your
this
back on
better?
it. I don't know. It's different. It's for sure longer. It really cuts into the fly fishing. I have to say that's annoying. But you know, the thing is, you get to grow the characters. You really sort of get. It's a more of a taffy.
How has this character grown?
Well, she's gotten better at the job, I think, a little bit. She's gotten
understands.
slightly more normal. I'm terrified
Normal?
of this. Just annoyed that Ostroff is so determined to refight the Cold War instead of fixing his crappy economy. Don't put that in a protest thingy. And I don't want this. I'm gonna.
You don't want her to be normal,
No,
do you?
I'm gonna
normal
watch
is not
this.
something
Well,
that appeals to you at all about anything about life. Normal.
No, not so much. No, I would like for her to stay thinking outside of the box.
Yeah,
I don't want her to
that's well said.
sort of fall into that.
Well,
I'll do my best to keep that
Isn't
alive.
this your character? I mean, is this Barbara listening to you or not?
Yes, she is. Actually, I have Laurie McCreary, who is with Morgan Freeman, really Morgan's producer.
Okay.
And I would say 3 of us are on exactly the same
Didn't you spend some
page.
time with Madeleine Albright?
I did. I had a coffee, and next
That was it,
week,
a coffee.
listen, don't knock it, okay? I got a coffee. I'm not going to say what have you got, because I know you can. I know you can snub me on that one. But it was a great coffee.
Yes.
She's fascinating.
She is.
And she's fun.
Yes. You were talking about somebody who was a former agent or friend who,
Yes.
and therefore, and in the process of doing something terrible and betraying her country, she'd also gotten someone killed. Is that
Yes,
the idea?
one of our very close mutual friends. And so, and I what I do like about this part of the story is that that's the humanity of this character. That she sort of says, yeah, she betrayed me. She betrayed her country, her president. But what she did to our friend, the fact that we get to see the humanity of this woman. You know, we didn't. Hitler and Madeline and Condoleezza. These are women with very full lives, and we never really got to see.
The court has a very full life,
Yes,
too.
and we get to see it, and I think that's what's entertaining. That's what's real. That's where the show is doing. I wanted it.
Russell Crowe returns to movie theaters this week, playing the role in The Water Diviner. It is the story of an Australian farmer in his 3 sons, all missing. The one.
You didn't.
I was just so bad at courting. I think she only married me out of impatience.
But it was happy.
Very. Until the boys were lost.
Crowe not only plays the lead, but he's also the film's director.
I found myself reading this script and have an actor and make, cross-reference it is where but I had this other thing was happening, when I go and meet directors to work with them, I'm never gonna be attracted to the guy who really doesn't know what he wants to do, He just wants to have a chat, I'm attracted to the guys like Ridley Scott or Peter or Darren Aronofsky, or Tom Hooper. I'm gonna do it like this,
And I need you.
Yeah, and and they have part of the tone of what they're talking about is they are the only person in the universe who could tell the story. So I'm reading the script. Was only you can make this culture for both Australians and Turkish people and other people around the world. So So basically I finished reading it once, made a phone call, and I'll do the movie, but only if it's my responsibility.
Why did you want to direct?
I love it. And I've been, since I was 6 years old. In front from the age of 6, lead roles in feature from the age of 25. Composition, texture, the between music and sight, these things. Well, in everything has to stop while you work out what you need or whatever. It's not that. It's having the ultimate say, because what you want to the privilege of being a director is to the smartest hearts and minds that right? I'm going to this place. I need you at your best. This costume does. I need this. It's going to be complicated for these reasons. Your best. Here's the thing with directing, man. It's like being in the country with no light sources around you on a clear night. You look up in the sky, there's 15, 20 points of light. Well, that's cool. A minute goes by, there's 100. Another minute, there's 10,000. It's kind of what directing's like. The more you stare at it, the more you can see.
And you got everything out of Russell Crowe you wanted out of Russell Crowe.
Everything that I asked for. Oh.
Kehinde Wiley is a Brooklyn-based painter best known for his portraiture of young black men in hip-hop clothing. He is an international artist with studios in China, Africa, and the Caribbean. His influences range from European portraiture to modern-day pop culture. A work currently on view at the Brooklyn Museum. It is called A New Republic. Rosie Guerin and Aaron Clark produced our report.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Find you and take it slowly.
I'm Eugenie Tsai, the John and Barbara Vogelstein Curator of Contemporary Art at the Brooklyn Museum. We're here at Kehinde Wiley, A New Republic.
Yeah.
Now that I escape, sleep, walk away.
Wiley is known for his paintings of young black men wearing hip-hop clothing, but more recently he started making paintings of women and sculpture of women. One of the things he developed at the Studio Museum was a technique called street casting, where he would go out on the streets and young men if they might like to be in one of his paintings. He would make pictures of his own work, and if they said yes, they'd go back to his studio and look at art history books, choose a painting liked, and then the young man would assume the pose of the person in the reproduction. Wiley would take a photograph, and the photograph would provide the basis of the painting. So it's kind of a mashup between a photograph of a very contemporary young black man and story.
Excellent, brother.
I think very the parallel. Maybe the self that, how people today are obsessed in a way with self-presentation and creating their own self-image. But I think his interest in celebrity, his interest in even the process of kind of giving them their 15 minutes of fame and singling them out for a short period of time and making them special like a celebrity. And just the technique he uses, the mentality that we might not see in everyday life, but when you walk
The look at the data.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on.
Is the day the Supreme Court hears arguments on gay marriage. Wednesday, the day the ASCAP Pop Music Awards are presented Angeles. Thursday is the 40th anniversary of Sun and the end of the Kentucky Derby down.